I don't know if you knew this, but today is National Sanctity of Human Life Day. That is a day when we remember to honor life. And specifically, we remember the unborn. And we remember that they have every right to live, even though they're still in their mother's womb. And they're as much a person as a person outside of the womb. But yet today, abortion is considered an option. Did you know that since the passing of Roe v. Wade in the 70s, 35 million babies have been aborted? That's almost 3 times the number of people who died under the Nazis and the Holocaust. Listen, every 15 seconds an abortion occurs in America. And why? Because largely that baby is perceived as an inconvenience or burden the mother and father do not want. It was conceived out of wedlock and it's a burden to raise. And check this out, 40% of women who have had an abortion or are having an abortion have had one before. Some women even use it as a form of birth control. And then there's partial birth abortion, which is almost unthinkable, yet it is done all the time. And the way that this is rationalized is people will say, well, it's not a baby. It's not a baby until it's born. And so we have a new name for it. We'll call it a fetus or an embryo or a glob of cells, uterine contents, product of conception. Here's one of my favorites. It's actually been used to describe an unborn child, a potential person. And what else was it going to be? A salamander? Unbelievable. Listen, any person who says there is a debate on if the Bible teaches that life begins at conception is not being honest. There is no debate among those that believe the Bible on the topic of abortion, only among those who do not believe it or are willingly ignorant of what it says. Life begins at conception. And once the child is conceived, the child should be carried to term, the child should be born, and if you don't want to raise the child, then put the little one up for adoption, because there's plenty of families out there ready to adopt. Showing that God has a plan for each one of us. Even before birth, God said to Jeremiah in chapter 1, verse 5, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as my spokesman to the world. Notice that God said, I formed you in your mother's womb. He didn't say, I waited until you were born to have a plan for you because you were not yet a human. You were just a mass of tissue. Because he was a person even before he was born. Certainly once he was conceived, God said, I had a plan for your life. I'm sure glad that a woman named Charlene McDaniel didn't get an abortion after she got pregnant out of wedlock, because if she had, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now, because she was my mother. And I was born out of wedlock. But here I am, and I'm glad I'm here. I hope you are too. Selfishness, it flavors, it colors, it ruins so much of what we do.